All right, everybody, we back. Why did you come back? Because while I was out here just thinking, spending time with myself, which I recommend you doing, so you'll even know what your own self sounds like. I was given some information. And the information that I was given was there is a purpose for speeding society up. There is a purpose of speeding society up. What would the purpose of speeding society up be? Technology? That's part of it. But let's look at the days of old. I'm not going to, let's just say the 1900s. In the 1900s, there was a lot going on. You had different facets of people. You had some educated, wealthy people. You had a lot of poor people. But you also had immigrants coming over. So the United States at that time was lightweight a melting pot. But at the end of the day, the people with the money was still in control. But at that time, if you wanted to learn something, you had to read a book or you had to be told by somebody, which both takes time. To read a book, to read a 250-page book, you can't read it in a half an hour. You can't even audio book read it in a half an hour. You can't listen to a speech that's 2 hours long in 10 minutes and get the gist of the whole speech. If you listen to a 1 hour speech, you're only going to remember 3% of it. So a 2 hour speech, you might only get 1.5% of it, depending on your retention level. But the thing is, you will actually listen and obtain and retain some information. Well, back then, when times were a little bit slower, you had time to read. You didn't have TV. You didn't have a bunch of programs that made your dopamine system operate by wanting to see the next episode. So when you see the advertisement for that episode, you get a dopamine rush and whoosh, oh, now you're connected to that show. And once you watch it, as soon as you sit down and turn it on and it comes on, you get a dopamine rush. That's that feeling you get like, oh, my show is on. Yeah, that's dopamine. Yes, the happy drug. It's already in your body. So when they start making those shows, um, they would come on once a week. How fast can you watch a show now? You could binge watch a show now. Why am I telling you this information? Because as time moved forward, at this point where we are now, how many people do you really know read the way that they used to 10 years ago? Whole books, whole magazines. I know I got family members that used to read boxes of Harlequin romances in a month because they was an avid reader. I haven't seen them read a book in a while. I'm gonna just leave it like that. I'm just saying. I haven't seen them reading a book. I hear about phones. So basically, what happens is this: as technology or the system systematically speeds you up, it don't thrust you in it because that's gonna cause stress. It speeds you up little by little by little by little by little by little by little. Yeah, it keeps speeding you up to a point. Think about it. Right now, could you really make it through a half an hour video without scrolling? You can't. You cannot. I want that could actually be a show. That could actually be a show. How tempting would it be for people to get their cell phones of people texting them or calling them, hidden cameras, if they had to go a day without using their phone, but their phone was around, but they couldn't touch it. Could they do it? Could they last 24 hours? That's an idea for somebody. That's a show. Put it out there. You put it out there, hey, it'll come back to me. And if you want to be generous, you know what to do. But anyway, so as they speed you up systematically, what happens is your brain patterns change. Your brain capacity changes. You go from slowly gathering information, processing it as you gathering it, to getting hit with a bunch of information. You process it real fast and you retain the 3% we talked about. But 5 posts later, there it is again. So now that's 6%. And that 6 turns to 12, the 12 turns to 24, and so on until after about 10 times you done seen that ad, now you 100% know what it is without even looking at it. And your subliminal is there. So now you just got to see familiar colors and it's reminding you. So your brain has processed it faster, but it didn't break it down like it would a book. It got you to a point where you even see people walking faster. It's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like for real, if you just peep people, they walking faster with their phones. People used to be chilling, walking slow, moseying along. What up, player? What up, though? Chilling, nothing. Now, what's happening? Oh man, I gotta get there. Why he didn't look at you? Matter of fact, he gave you one quick peek back to his phone. It's a drug. It's a dopamine hit every time you hear the thing, every time you hear that bell, every time you hear the notification, every time you see a picture you might like that they say, hey, you might like this. How do they know that? See, it's called response conditioning. B.F. Skinner did it. Wyatt did it. These are people at the beginning of behavior. These are the people that created the science. They experimented with all this stuff, food. You know what I'm saying? Pain, punishment, drugs, you name it. You name it. So as they speed you up, the intelligence level of what they're giving you to process goes down. You start, how many slang articles or slang advertisements do you see? And I'm not knocking slang because I grew up talking slang. I still talk slang. I'm talking about bad slang, like people that shouldn't even be talking slang, and it don't even sound right. How many shows that used to be prominent, they used to shun on the urban culture, they use the urban slang and really know how to use it. Now, I'm not knocking people from coming over to the other side, but what I'm saying is shows used to have messages. Shows used to have values. Shows used to hit internally. Now, shows hit for stimulation and revenue. It was always about revenue, but at least they wanted quality. Now, if it's quote unquote quality with a message, it's too intelligent. For who? for the people that are not intelligent. So what they're saying is it's too intelligent for you. So basically, they're calling you dumb. They're calling their audience dumb, and you agree and saying, "Yeah, we don't want that. It's too intelligent." So basically, you calling yourself dumb. And I'm not saying just because you read you smart, but what I'm saying is the more you use your brain, the more efficient and the more information it could process. So as they speed you up, you lack the ability to want to sit and concentrate and comprehend a massive amount of words in a row with dots behind them. You lose that ability to want to do that, to desire to do that. See, when you read books, your books is like your imagination. Your books take you to different places. Why? Because books are thoughts. Books are thoughts written down. All books are is somebody else's thoughts written down. Why are books so powerful? Because basically what those people did was manifest their experience on paper. There's that word again. All they did was think about what they were going to write, grabbed it from the other side, the spiritual realm, brought it here. They didn't manifest it with their mouth. It's still communication. They wrote it down in a form that people could understand. So it got manifested here on earth, not through vocal words, but written words. So it made it. And once you read it, those words that was manifested in that person now manifested in you. And then you might use some vocabulary or a word you heard or a scenario or something you heard out of that book and tell it to somebody else. And that person might remember and say, "What book was that?" And they go get the book and they read it. Then they read it till they get. See, it continues. That's why reading is fundamental. If your kids see you read, they usually read. It's modeled behavior. We talking behavior. So as they speed you up, you lose the desire to want to process and read information. Now you get all these dopamine hit from your phone, so you literally carrying your drug in your pocket. How's it a drug? Because you paying for it every month. They got a customer coming every month, 50 million strong. You act like you are. I use a cell phone, but I don't, everybody got what they use it for, how they use it. I'm gonna put it like that. I ain't knocking nobody. I'm just giving you some information. Somebody got their whole life on their phone, they business. Some people use it as therapy. I get it. So I'm not knocking cell phone use. We're talking about speeding you up. Let's get back on track though. So as they speed you up, you lose a desire to want to process information. So therefore you don't read. You just want to be entertained. If you start watching something too smart, as you would say, too intelligent. I heard a famous rapper said Jay-Z's 444 was too intelligent. That's what was said. So I'm not knocking, I'm not, that's what was actually said about a quote. It was a quote. Go look it up. I didn't agree or disagree. That's just what was said. That's important for me to state it that way because I'm not going with either side. I'm not siding with either. But you lose the desire to want to read. Therefore, you lose the desire to want to process information slowly. Therefore, you stop doing that activity. So you create a new habit. You start looking at your phone and want to watch things for dopamine hits versus reading things for dopamine hits. Now, if you got books on your phone, great. If you got videos you watching to make you more smart, great. But if you're not using this tool to elevate yourself, you falling right into what's being put forth. And again, it's creating another classism You're gonna have people that's just on their phones. You got people that reading on their phones, and you got people that's just mainly reading. They just use their phone as a tool. Why is why is that even relevant? Because those are three different thought processes. Those are three different how can I say it, mental capacities of the way they're gonna live their life. So they're all gonna have three different sets of values. So you're gonna have division. But to end this, as they speed you up, you stop wanting to take time to learn. You stop wanting to take time to listen because when you read, you're listening to a voice within. You don't even know what that voice sounds like because you have other people's voices in your head that's not assisting you. If you have people voices such as my own that's trying to assist you, help you elevate, those will be positives. And I'm not saying don't kick it and have fun and stuff. You got to have balance, but something that's assisting you with lacking the ability to process information and the desire to want to edify yourself through the means of processing information from paper and words, you know. But to end, as everybody speeds up, stress level goes up. People not reading, which means people are not going to be as smart as they used to be or as they should be. They'll be up on the latest technology. The worst part about that is they're only going to be able to process what's being fed to them. With books, you could go pick out what you want to see. No censorship in the books because it's yours. The information is there. There's no censorship. The information that you're gonna read on your device can be censored, can be changed. Wikipedia, people could erase it, put anything on there. Videos could change. People could refer. I mean, anything. Photoshop, any of that. You know what I mean? Not saying all books are 100% true, but what I am saying is with books, you have more information, so therefore you can make a more determined decision if you allow yourself to process the information. On the phone, it's so many distractions trying to get your attention from what you're trying to do. It's going to be hard for you to focus. And they know that. That's why my generation, we look at the younger generation and we say, man, we knew that at that age. Or man, we used to do this and they ain't even doing that. Or man, we knew this at this age and they still ain't teaching that. They took cursive out of school. Like we knew how to do cursive in the second grade. They took cursive out. So these kids, like, what is cursive? That's just one thing. I ain't going into detail. But if you don't know how to process information on a long-term level, you're not gonna be. You probably not gonna be that smart. I teach in charter schools and public schools and different places. They don't even get books out no more, y'all. It's all handouts. It's printouts. Get your geometry printout. Get your algebra printout. They get enough information to pass tests, but they don't have the fundamentals. They don't have the base. They don't have the foundation. They remember how to do it to pass the test, but they don't understand the structure of a paragraph. They just know they need to write what they think. And in some cases, They don't know what they think. And they'll write that. I don't know. I was teaching a class and I had a multiple choice test. And the multiple choice was yes or no. And I had about 35 kids in the class, and about 15 of them on that same question said IDK, I don't know, versus choosing a yes or a no. I still have the test if you think I'm capping. I ain't gonna do that because I could just show the answers, but I won't show names. And I'm not exploiting the kids. But what I'm saying is the processing is different. We were taught and we learned and we had the rationale, survival. You're either gonna do it or not. It's either yes or no. We had to make a decision. It's to a point now where the brain capacity in a forced choice situation, a dual choice, A or B, red pill, blue pill, life depending on it. Make a choice. I told them, answer every question. I don't know was not on there. They wrote that. They could circle yes, they can circle no, IDK. We're at that point, y'all. And this happened in multiple schools. I have the proof. I still have the test. I just looked at them today. So that's the society that's gonna be assisting us in the future. And I got black kids, white kids, Mexican kids. I got all different kinds of kids. So I'm talking about teaching. I'm not talking about personal, I'm talking about students. But that's where we are. So they could process information faster, but long words, deep words, prepositional phrases, making a decision, a rational, critical thinking decision. Oh, that's non existent almost. Decision is based off emotion. And we know how usually that ends. The system. You're in the system. It's behavior modification. It is what it is. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying what the evidence says from a physiological, psychological, and a scientific standpoint. So that being said, that's all I got for you. That's all that came through. But slow down. Slow down. Slow down and listen to yourself. Slow down and think. Slow down and think about the decisions you're about to make before you make them. Don't rush and make a decision and then say, I can think about that later. No, 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 no. You're falling into it. Back up a bit. Back up a bit. Back up a bit. Okay? Back up a bit. Back up a bit and think. If I do this, these things can happen. If I do that, these things can happen. Weigh both options. Which one has the best outcome for you and whoever you're talking about? That's probably the best option versus just not thinking, making a decision. And I got a name for that, but I ain't gonna say it on here because kids listening, so I ain't gonna say what I want to say. With that being said, slow down. Don't let them speed you up. You being sped up so that you won't be able to think. And in doing so, it creates a caste system for extreme thinkers, semi-extreme thinkers, people that think and non-thinkers. Sounds like Brave New World to me. Alpha, gamma, betas, deltas, epsilons. It sounds like Brave New World to me. I'm just saying. But anyway, that being said, I hope this resonated with whoever needed it. Till next time. Peace.